Today I was reading Genesis and I was just thinking about how nobody wants to talk about curses, right? Because that sounds spooky, right? It sounds evil. Let's not talk about curses. Curses don't exist. Okay, I used to think that too. But then just now when I was reading, it occurred to me that Abraham, when he and Sarah went away, he lied and said, "Oh, that's not my wife," because he was so afraid that everybody was going to think she was so beautiful and they might kill him to get her. And then his son literally does the same thing generations later, well, years later, right? So Isaac is married to another beautiful woman, Rebecca, and he doesn't tell Abimelech that that's his wife. He's like, "Oh, that's my sister," but then he gets caught in the garden filling her up. And so it just makes me think like, I won't say that's a curse. It's definitely a pattern in the family, whether it's they're all liars, or they both just kind of think, "Oh, everyone wants our woman. Let's just play the role like this." But then I started thinking as well, it also said in the Bible that Abraham and Sarah, they couldn't have children for years, to the point that Abraham ended up getting with Sarah's help to have Ishmael, right? Because he didn't believe the promise. And then years later, he had Isaac. Then Rebecca, Isaac's wife, couldn't have kids right away. It took them out, I think, 20 years or 40 years to have their first child. And so some would just say, "Oh, it's just a coincidence." But if you really think about it, maybe it's a pattern. Let's not call it a curse, right? Because curses are crazy and spooky and stuff like that. But the same way that we all go to the doctor, and the first question they ask us is our family history. What is it that runs in your family? And so the point of this post is just think about your children. Because as you know, this page is all about the kids, all about the youth. So there are things in your family line that have continued. There are things that you have done, and there are things that your kids might struggle with. So rather than keeping it a secret and not wanting to seem like, "Oh, I was so dirty back in the day," or "I was this and I was that," it might behoove you to talk to your children about it, because it might be something they could struggle with later. But if they hear your story, your testimony, how you overcame and how not to overcome, or if you believe in curses, break the generational curse, your children won't have to struggle with it. So it's so important to talk to your children about your past, about your struggles, not just your family history and medical history, but about other things as well, because we don't want our children to be in bondage. We want our children to be free.